I'm sure everyone by now has heard of a little lawsuit that affected the real estate industry. Michael Ketchmark against the National Association of Realtors has been all over the headlines for the past few weeks. And actually, Anthony Lamacchia, who stood up on behalf of the entire real estate industry and debated this man on House and Wire.
I feel strongly about what is going on here. I feel strongly about the rhetoric that Michael is putting out in the media.
Here's the link. I really think everyone should check it out for themselves. Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're gonna be doing something quite different. So what I decided to do, since I was invited to the Crush It in Real Estate event in Boston, Massachusetts, which is Massachusetts' largest real estate event. There was 1,200 realtors that registered to this event from all sorts of different companies and all over the world. I literally met with realtors from different countries at this event. The president of the Association of Realtors, Kevin Sears, was at this event. It was incredible. And I cannot thank Anthony Lamacchia enough for meeting with me the day before the event. In this video, we're gonna sit down, have a one-on-one interview with Anthony Lamacchia himself, the man behind all the Lamacchia companies, Lamacchia Realty, property management, short-term rentals in Cape Cod. I hope you get some value from this video. Let's get to know the man behind Lamacchia Realty. And as always, you guys already know, my name is Michael Valencia. I'm one of the best realtors in the state of Florida with Lamacchia Realty, and this is Living in South Florida. So without further ado, I hope you get some value out of this video. And if you do, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know of any new content that comes on this channel. Here you go, enjoy. All right guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. I actually flew all the way to Boston to meet with the man himself, Anthony Lamacchia. As you guys know, in every single one of my videos, I always say, I'm Mike Valencia with Lamacchia Realty, and this is Living in South Florida. But today we're gonna be meeting with the man himself, Anthony Lamacchia. Yes. I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. Sure. I want South Florida, everyone in South Florida to kind of get to know the company that you've built and meet the man behind the scenes.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here. You know, I'm so impressed with what you do on YouTube, what you do on your website, all you do for your clients. When you asked me to do this, I was like, of course. Awesome. You know, happy to talk. You know I'm not shy.
Yeah, not at all. So let's get started with this. How did you get started? How did the company come about?
Well, I started buying properties when I was 21. Mm-hmm. I remember I bought like a $103,000 condo. You know, I fixed it up and I got it rented, and then I bought another one and got it rented, and I think I sold one, and then I bought a 3-family, and I just kept at it. And at the time, I was working with my dad doing landscape construction. I grew up in business. I mean, I was managing people by 15 years old. I had a pager in high school. Wow. And the guys would page me and ask what job to go to next, and sometimes I'd sneak right out of school and go show them, and I'd go back to high school because I had to make sure to be there so I could play football. And but then a few years later, by the time I was 23, just thought, geez, maybe I should be a realtor. I got a real estate license, broke the news to my dad that I wanted to get into real estate, and that didn't go over very well.
Really?
Now he's my biggest fan, but it was a tough...
And now that you've built and you've had so much success, but how was that in the beginning?
Hey, that was a tough time. You know, that required Grandpa's intervention. God rest his soul, he's the best. But yeah, that was an interesting period. But I did bolt for about 20 months. Then I was full-time in real estate by 2006, May of 06. I was 100% dedicated to real estate. Okay. And I sold and worked with buyers and sellers especially from 2000, well, really from when I started in 04 till 11. Yeah. But from 06 to 2011, I did so many listing appointments you can't imagine. What happened was, the market slowed down, not like it is now. Now we have less sales because rates went up, but prices aren't falling out. There's no defaults on the market. At that time, properties were being listed all over the place and they weren't selling. Yeah. And I started running an ad, if I don't sell your home in 70 days, I'll buy it. And that produced literally 2 to 3 listing appointments a day, 4 to 5 days a week for about 4 years. Wow. And I got really good at the art of the listing appointment. I was not really good at it in the beginning, and you know,
like no one is, right?
Well, yeah, and you know, the hard thing about real estate, I know that a lot of sellers and buyers will watch, is real estate is a very interesting game where people make more decisions with here than they do with here. Yeah, they let emotion.
Do you remember last year I sold my house? I've sold dozens of properties at this point, not hundreds, dozens of properties, right? I'm over 100 transactions. The moment I went to sell mine, what did I do? I consulted you, I consulted my attorney, I consulted my mortgage broker. I'm like, guys, what should I do here?
Let me tell you a story. 2012, I bought the house I live in now.
Yeah.
Well, the land where the house is now. And I hemmed and hawed about paying over $450,000, knowing I was going to knock down the existing property.
Yeah.
And I talked to the prior broker that I had before I started this company in 2009. I called him up. He happens to live behind me. Said, hey, I can get this house for $467,000, but I don't know if I want to pay that. His words were, what are you, a cheap guinea? He says, are you nuts? Pay that price. So we laughed. We're friends. We joke. He was joking. And I said to myself, Jesus, he's right. I paid it. Last year, literally 18 months ago, the same size lot, there's only 15 of them in my town. 5 doors down from me, sold for $1.6 million.
Jesus Christ.
So I say to myself, imagine if I let my pride, and I was, by that time in the business, I was an expert in the business with pricing, but I let this get in the way of this. And when he said that to me, I said to myself, he's right. He's right. And I went forward with it. And it's a good thing I did. And for buyers hearing that, I think that that's a great message for buyers to hear, and especially to hear it from someone like me and someone like Mike, because when you're a buyer, you get caught up in your pride. And one thing about real estate, no matter what happens to the market, in 5 years, your house is worth more. You know, you might have a year or two, kind of like we're in now, where the market slows and there might be some pressure, and then it breaks out. But the trajectory of home prices is like this. Over the last, you look at charts from the 1960s, it's clear.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that I like to explain to my friends at the Coast Guard is if you can understand inflation, if you can understand how money's created, you're going to always realize that buying property is always better than not buying property.
Correct. Well, look at the tax advantages. I remember when I bought that condo I mentioned when I was 21, and I got money back in taxes, and I got more back, and I'm like, what's this? And well, you can write off the expenses for the things you fix. And my grandfather was an accountant. So I grew up working with my dad in landscape, and my grandfather was the accountant. And my grandfather's like, well, look, the money that you spent, that's an investment, and it was what, 2002? And I said, geez, I want another one, and I want another one, and I want another one. So I've never gone wrong buying real estate.
That's funny. So I think that's probably where our story is a little bit different. So like you, I also bought my very first property at 21, and I didn't know I didn't have so many reasons behind it. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. And all my entire career in the Coast Guard, I've never rented a single property at every unit that I've been to. And when I was buying that property, it was in 2009. Every single person at work in Air Station Atlantic City was coming up to me and was like, what are you doing? Everybody else was losing money on their house. That GFC was in the middle, it was happening. Remember, prices didn't bottom out.
That was that 3-year period. The 1 3-year period in the last 60 years that if you bought and you wanted to sell within 3 years, you were in trouble. It was 07 to about 2010 or 11, and that's what you're talking about.
So prices didn't bottom out till 2011. And then I was like, I don't know, I just feel like this is the right thing to do. And there was only one person that came up to me at work and said, every unit that you go to, you should buy a property, because that's what I'm doing. And when I retire, I'm going to have rental income, and I'm going to have retirement income. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a pretty decent plan. And from there, that put me on a path to be like, books were my thing, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's so many business books that I dove in, and all the tax advantages. But let's talk about you a little bit more. So from there, you started buying property, and then how did you went from being a realtor to then building a team?
What happened was we started selling. I mean, I was running ads. If I don't sell your home in 70 days, I'll buy it. When people were having trouble selling their homes. We were getting so many leads we couldn't keep up.
Wow.
So we started hiring people to help.
Problem to have.
It was. I mean, it was dizzying, literally. And we started hiring people and just built up. And first I was the #1 agent by transaction in Massachusetts.
Wow.
Then I was the #1. Then we built the team. We were #1 team / agent, whatever you want to call it. And then in about 2012, we started training our agents every single week, teaching them to utilize buyer leads, to work with more buyers, not just sellers. And I bought out my ex-business partner in 2014. 2015, we converted the company to a brokerage model. And when we converted it to a brokerage model, there was a couple of years there that it was tricky, to bring in realtors like yourself. And Mike's a top realtor. Bringing in a top realtor, you have to have certain things at the company that attract them and retain them. And we had to kind of build that out, 15, 16, 17. Right around 18, started to click. And we were growing even then, but that's when it really like did this.
Right. That's awesome.
And then we scaled, and now we have 13 branch offices as we sit here. The 14's coming soon.
Nice.
But we have 13 branch offices. We serve 5 of the 6 New England states, so all the states up here in the Northeast except Vermont, which eventually will serve Vermont. And then Florida. And Florida has been a target of mine, a goal of mine, for, I told you, over a decade.
Yep.
And then finally in 2020, we went for it. My only regret is I wish we did it sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your long-term plan? What's your vision for Florida?
Well, we want to be in every major city in Florida. The addressable market is massive. I mean, here's a statistic for you all. More homes sell in Florida every year than all of the New England states put together. So I'm 42 years old.
125,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Way more. Well, that's South Florida.
Yeah. Oh,
125. Yeah. You do the whole state, it's tremendous. But the addressable market is massive in Florida. The other thing that I love about Florida, there's many things, but the other thing that I love is you guys, I say you guys, it's us really. I'm there too, but we're sitting in Boston, so I say you guys. Those that live in Florida, I don't. The seasonality is so much less than up north. I mean, there's what, 3-4 weeks slow period in the winter?
Yeah.
In the Northeast, it's slow. People don't want to list their homes. They should. Those that list in late January, February, early March make the most money because there's less competition. But the masses wait until late March, April, May, June. Yeah. And that seasonality is a fiscal financial challenge for every real estate brokerage up here. So we look down the line, Sarah and I started the company with Sarah. She's our VP of Finance. Jackie's the COO. One of the things that we talk about is, imagine 10 years from now if half our offices are in Florida. We'll be so well diversified for the year. Plus, we have a never-ending supply of clients wanting to move to Florida, buy second homes, move there completely, that have family that have homes in Florida. There's not a day of the week that goes by that we're not, our relocation department, a different Sarah, is not helping a buyer, a seller, someone relocating in Florida. We have Florida action every day of every week.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys are part of the leading RE.
Yeah, leading real estate companies of the world is a big help because, we're directly serving South Florida. Right now, our realtors are from Miami up to really Port St. Lucie, even higher than you go. And I know you've referred some to the agents up there.
Yeah.
But the rest of the state, we're not covering yet. So what we do is we refer to other companies.
Right.
And there's a lot of great companies in Florida. A lot of them we're friends with.
Yeah.
And we send referrals out to them. But eventually, we plan to open in the other cities.
So what is your why behind all of this?
People ask me that a lot. I certainly had an interesting childhood that was, I'd say, prepared me for the business world, for how hard it is and how hard-nosed it is. But I was very interested in being a business owner at an extremely young age. I started working very young. It's all I know. Yeah. And I'm a very competitive person. Everything I've ever done, from football to weightlifting to martial arts, I always strive as much as I can, and that personality, I would say, mostly helps me in business. Sometimes I push the envelope a little too much, but I certainly want to build an empire that I hopefully pass on to my children someday, and we'll see how I do.
Nice.
They're young now. I've got 3 teenagers and then a little guy that's 7, so we got a ways to go before they're involved. And who knows? I am not going to push them or force them to be involved. But out of 4, do I think 1 or 2 will be? I assume. Yeah. And if not, no big deal.
I love that. Are you big into reading?
I read a lot every day. I'm a news fanatic.
Yeah.
I've slacked a little bit on books.
Okay.
The last couple of years, things have gotten extremely busy with the market change. When the markets change and then when there's headwinds in business, you have to increase your activities. Yeah. And I am someone who's very, very passionate about that. So I've slacked on my reading of books. Yeah. Because I'm working more, but I will definitely get back to a place where I'm reading at least a book every couple of weeks. Because I very much enjoy reading books.
What's the last book that you've read that's made a huge impact on you personally and
Stephen Schwartzman, the founder of Blackstone, wrote, I can't think of the name of the book off the top of my head, but that was a very good book, very impactful. He talked about how they went out on 18 meetings to raise money, and they failed, and then all of a sudden they raised $100 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an extraordinary story. So that was a really good book. I can't think of the name of it right now, but Stephen Schwartzman wrote it. The other book that I love, I would say my all-time favorite, you'll know this person, Donald Rumsfeld, Known and Unknown. I read that book probably 10, 12 years ago. Very long book. It was about his business career and his career in the government.
Wow.
Probably my favorite book I've ever read.
Wow.
So I've read every president's book and every cabinet secretary back to Reagan.
Okay.
Yeah, in the last 20 years. I have, Democrats or Republicans, I read both sides. And I find it very interesting because you can learn a lot about business and messaging from reading how they deal with things in the government. Because if we think we've got headaches, I mean, everything we talk about and do doesn't end up in the news within 3 hours.
Right.
That's a whole other level.
Yeah. So I'm obviously not gonna. This isn't a channel for politics. We're not gonna get into that whatsoever. But it's so funny that the more and more I dive into business, the more I realize that politics has so much to do with it.
Oh,
you know, like
let me tell you. My brother, okay, love him to pieces, 8 years younger than me. I'm so proud of him. He's the president of our family's landscape construction business. I'm a little involved in that again, you know, with family, you can't get away, but I got away for 16 years, but I'm involved again. My brother used to say, I don't care about politics. I only pay attention to my job every day and my family. Okay, he becomes president of the company a couple of years ago. He's running the company. He's dealing with dollars and cents. He's dealing with budgets. He's dealing with regulation. All of a sudden, I'm seeing a mini political maniac on my hands. He's paying attention. He's sending me videos. So it's quite interesting how, and I've seen this with many in management. You know, we've built this company from nothing. We have executives and managers that have been with us anywhere from 5 to 19 years. I've seen it in them. The more they get into management and seeing numbers and seeing how expensive it is to do business and all that, the more politically interested they become.
Yeah, you kind of have to, right? All these changes in politics will impact the way we do business.
Correct.
You know? So what are your, we kind of talked about the aspirations for South Florida. What do you, how, do you have a goal? Like, do you have a time frame for these goals?
I wouldn't say we have an exact time frame set, but as I told you in Massachusetts, we were number one. I was number one realtor, then number one team. I want to be number one company. And there's a company that's had that title for 21 years, and I want to take it from them. I want us to be the company that sells more homes than any other company in Massachusetts. For the country, you know, I want us to be the largest and best privately held brokerage in the country.
Well, you're doing a great job at it.
I'm trying, buddy. In Florida, I want us to be the largest privately held brokerage in Florida. That's the first goal.
Yeah.
We have miles to go to achieve that. There's great competition. There's great companies. And really, at this moment, we're not in Florida what we are in the Northeast. But we will get there. I've lived this already here.
Yeah.
You drive down, you probably saw on the way here, we have billboards, we have television ads, and we're slowly but surely implementing that same playbook in South Florida. And we're going to be very focused on South Florida for the next few years, but at some point we will probably enter Southwest Florida and Central Florida and other places.
So I can speak from experience from actually being with the company for the last 14 months, but I want to kind of hear it from you. What do you think sets you apart from all the other companies? Because I don't know if you know this statistic. Florida has more realtors than any other state in the country.
I do, I know.
Almost 270,000 realtors, and almost half of those realtors are between Miami-Dade, Broward County, and West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So what sets Lamacchia apart?
We literally picked the most competitive area to start in.
You really did.
But I'm glad we did, because we have great people in the Florida office, great realtors. One of them was with me up here for years. You're with us. You wouldn't be with us if we didn't open there. So I'm very grateful.
Thank you to Justin for setting this up, by the way.
Good
Justin
point.
Stoltz.
Yeah, he does a great job. Great mortgage company.
Yeah.
Very impressed with those guys. But what sets me apart? I think a couple things. One, I am definitely a marketeer.
Yeah.
I'm very focused with marketing and messaging.
Yeah.
It's what I do. And sometimes I even do things that some say, what is he doing? And then it ends up in the media and they say, oh, look. So I something recently I did that's kind of going in that direction. But
a little debate.
Yeah, right. A little debate on behalf of our industry, right?
Yeah.
But when you are in business, you have to be leaning forward. You have to be marketing. My dad, 12 years old, taught me about TOMA, top of mind awareness. And he said, you want to make it in business, when you're in business, you need to make it so that whatever product you're selling, when people think of the need for that product, you come to their mind.
Nice.
And achieving top of mind awareness is not easy. You've done it with your group of clients,
right?
But you want to expand that, and you should be working on expanding that. And our company wants to help you expand that. So I'd say being a marketer and, probably having some natural abilities with numbers and work ethic helps a little too.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as the company, what sets us apart, I think the marketing, the services, the things that we offer to the agents, the extra steps we go with marketing for the properties that are getting listed in our company, and then we get a realtor like you who takes it even further, so.
So let me talk about it from the inside a little bit more, and I want you to know how I arrived at that decision, because people probably don't know this, but you and I only met 14 months ago. I had no idea who you were 15 months ago.
It's wild.
15 months ago, I had no idea who Anthony Lamacchia was, and here I am now traveling to Boston to do this interview, right? I'm here for other reasons. I was made President's Club Elite Award ceremony tomorrow, but the thing was, I took my business to a certain level that I knew that I needed to implement more systems. I needed more support in my business, right? I always attacked it as this is my business, right? People are coming to me, they want to work with Michael Valencia for who I am and the service that I provide.
Correct.
Right?
And notice how you keep saying business, my business. I think a lot of realtors miss that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are a business owner.
Yes, and the more and more years that I spend in the business and obviously dealing with different realtors, speaking with them when I'm getting ready to submit offers and everything else, the more and more I'm starting to realize that. Most realtors do not realize they are business owners. They are the business, right?
Yep.
We are the face of our own company. We are our own brand. So we have to find a way to implement certain systems that are going to help take our brand to the next level.
Yep.
And one of the things that you do so well is the fact that you're great at marketing and you have a great marketing team and everything. It's never just about you, and it's never just about Lamacchia. You put not just the realtors, but also the staff. The staff feels like they're appreciated and they're being recognized. And because they're being recognized and appreciated, when us, the realtors, need their help, everyone's always so enthused to help us out, and I love that. Previous brokerages that I worked at, when I go to reach out to the marketing team, people weren't really thrilled or excited to help me. Here, I feel like they're always ready to go. So when I knew that I needed certain systems for my business, the moment that I met with you and you're like, look, this is everything Lamacchia has to offer, I was just like, yeah, this is everything my business needs. And you remember what you said to me? You said, why don't you go back home, think about it for a few weeks, and we can talk then. I was like, I don't need to. I'll sign right now.
Yeah, you're a total doer. And then like I've said before, you and I are very alike.
Yeah.
And once you know something is good for your business, you do it.
Yeah.
And not everybody has the ability to do that, because they let terror barriers come up and scare them, but you're a doer. And look at all the education you're putting out. Why is your brand bigger than the average realtor? Well, I go on your YouTube channel and you've got videos of so many neighborhoods. One day I remember sitting on my couch and I'm on my phone and I'm scrolling and I'm learning about, because truth be told, folks, do I know South Florida better than the average person that lives in the Northeast? Of course I do. I'm very familiar with the housing statistics, etc. But it's not my hood. I don't live there. I didn't grow up there like I did here. So those videos that you did are tremendous. And then your website, what is it?
Living in South Florida.
I mean, this is smart, because when you educate, you attract.
Yeah.
And you're putting out education for your clients. Even this interview, there might be some clients that I don't care about Anthony. That's totally fine. But there's also going to be clients that are new in business, that are interested in business. Yeah. Maybe there'll be some realtor friends they're going to watch and say, geez, that's interesting. Mike's business sounds interesting. That Anthony guy sounds interesting. Maybe I'll fool a couple people. But you get what I'm saying. And that's the part that I think a lot of realtors miss.
Yeah.
And you don't. And I congratulate you for that, my friend.
No, it's been, thank you so much for giving us the time to be part of this interview.
Of course.
It's been an honor working with you for the last 14 months. You've created a great company. I love the debate. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the House and Wire YouTube page. It was an amazing debate. I learned a lot from it. And yeah, man, I'm excited for tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
The Crush It in Real Estate event tomorrow.
Yes, annual Lamacchia Realty event, awards, recognition, and then the Crush It in Real Estate event in the afternoon. We have over 1,200 realtors signed up, so that means we'll probably get about 900 or 1,000.
That's incredible. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be there tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Anthony, for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay tuned for the next one. Anthony Lamacchia, thank you so much for meeting with me. It was an honor to truly sit down with you and get to know you on a completely different level. I think now I understand why our friendship has been so natural. from the beginning. We truly are men of similar values. If you have any questions about the housing market, check out the video. We made a 2024 market prediction video. We're gonna add the link above. And as always, stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.